This is lesson 4 on page 69, using lookup functions and formula auditing. The formulas and functions within Microsoft Office Excel provide you with a robust set of options for performing complex calculations on the data in your workbooks. But on their own, they may not always perform the precise calculations you need them to. For example, you may need a function to reference a value from another data set based on some particular criteria. But how do you tell the function how to look that up? Or perhaps you need one of your arguments to be the result of another formula or function. As your workbooks become larger and more complex, errors can crop up, and searching for the cause of errors or unexpected results and troubleshooting your formulas and functions can become a nightmare. Fortunately, Excel provides you with a number of options for dealing with these and many other situations. But doing so requires an understanding of a new set of Excel functions, lookup functions, and a deeper understanding of function syntax. By investing the time it takes to elevate your understanding of how these functions work and how they work together, you'll begin to develop the ability to create incredibly complex functions and formulas that can perform any number of calculations. In addition, you will be able to audit your workbook content to find, troubleshoot, and correct a number of different errors. Developing the skills you need to perform these audits can save you tremendous amounts of time, effort, and frustration when errors arise, and will give you the peace of mind that comes with knowing you can trust your data and analysis. So in this lesson, you will use lookup functions and audit formulas. You will use lookup functions, trace cells, and watch and evaluate formulas. So topic A on page 24 is using lookup functions. So you've collected a massive amount of data about your operations upon which you can perform an amazing variety of analysis. But what if you want quick access to just a particular bit of data? In some cases, you may be able to sort, filter, or even search for it. But suppose you don't know what the value is. For example, what if you need to find out who employee 1287's manager is, or in which region he or she works? If you don't know the answer you're looking for, you don't know what search criteria to enter. Or perhaps you need to enter the total number of units sold for a particular product into a formula. Although you could search for the product and look up the value yourself, you wouldn't want to do this for multiple products over and over. Fortunately, Excel enables you to look up such values even in massive data sets with relative ease. By using a set of functions known as lookup functions, you'll be able to look up or include in a formula or function any one particular entry in any data set. This level of functionality can quickly give you a detailed view of how any one individual value contributes to the overall operation of your organization. This can help you make clear, informed decisions that affect large-scale operations based on just a single chunk of data. So in Excel, lookup functions do exactly what you'd think they would. They look up some value. Specifically, lookup functions search through a particular data set to return a particular value based on some criteria. So the lookup functions that we'll be learning today, we have VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, match, index, and transpose. So we'll start with our VLOOKUP. So you can use the VLOOKUP function to search down the first column of a data set to find a specified value and then return the value from a cell in any column in the row that contains the specified value. And here I have the syntax of the VLOOKUP function. Your first argument is the lookup value, and this is the value the function will search for in the first column of your data set. Then your second argument is your table array, and this argument specifies the data set the VLOOKUP function searches through. Then you have your column index number. This argument is a positive whole number that specifies the column number from the data set that the function will return a value from. And then your optional range lookup. This is an optional argument that determines whether the function looks for an exact match of the lookup value or an approximate equivalent. If you enter the value false for this argument, the function will look for only exact matches. If you omit this argument or enter a value of true, the function will look for either an exact match or an approximate match. So let's take a look at a few examples. I'm going to just put my cursor in a random cell here. We have I5. So if I did equals VLOOKUP we're doing, equal VLOOKUP, the first argument is going to be my lookup value. And let's say I was looking up, let's say, employee ID 10008. So that's my lookup value, and I'm going to move to my table array, and I'm searching through the range A4 through E14. Now that has a defined name range of data that was already named, so the range A4 through E14 is named data already through our name box, so that was already set up. Then you have your column index number, and let's say I enter the column index number of 3, and I'm looking for an exact match for my next argument, so this is going to be false. So what this is saying, it's saying look through this range of data, look down the first column until you hit your lookup value of 10008. So it's going to go down, it's going to see 10008, and it's going to stop. Now your third argument is your column index number, which I entered as 3. So it goes to the third column. So this is 1, 2, 3. And it wants an exact match. So this function, this formula function, should return a value of southeast, which it does. Now let's try another one. Equals VLOOKUP. And let's say my lookup value was whatever was entered in cell A2. So right now that is 1010. My table array, I'm going to enter the defined range of data again. My column index number, we'll do column 4 this time. And then my range lookup, we'll do false for an exact match. So again, this says look through the data range, look down until you see your lookup value. Now, your lookup value is what's in cell A2. 1010 is in A2. So I'm going to search down until I find 1010 and stop. Now it says to go over to column 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this should return the name French, Ernestine, which it does. Now let's try another one. E equals VLOOKUP. And we'll look up 10005. We'll look through our defined range of data, and we'll do column 2 for an exact match as well. Ending parentheses. So again, you're looking down until you hit 1005, moving to column 2, 1, 2. That should return the value of marketing, which it does. All right. So VLOOKUP, you're searching down the first column for a lookup value in your data set, and then you're moving over to the specified column index number. Now moving on to our HLOOKUP, it's very similar. And you can use the HLOOKUP function to search across the first row of a data set to find a specified value, and then return the value from a cell in any row of the column that contains the specified value. So it's almost the same, except instead of searching down the first column, you're searching across the first row. So think of VLOOKUP as vertical lookup. You're searching vertically down the first column. Think of HLOOKUP as horizontal lookup. You're searching horizontally across the first row. So our syntax is equals HLOOKUP. Your first argument is again your lookup value. Your second argument is your table array, so the data set that you're searching through. And then the third argument this time is going to be your row index number to move down. And then your range lookup, again, is false for an exact match and true for an exact or an approximate if there's no exact. So a few examples. We have HLOOKUP. We'll search HLOOKUP. We'll do 10003. For my table array, we'll do the range A4 through F8, comma, to move to my next argument, and we'll go down to the fourth row and look for an exact match. So we'll enter false here. So what this is saying, search across the first row of your range A4 through F8. So search across here until you find your lookup value, which we have as 1003. So search across to 1003 and stop. Then your third argument, which is 4, is going to be your row index number. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So that should return the value of Dandridge, comma, Ray, which it does. Another example, we'll do equals HLOOKUP, and we'll reference a cell for our lookup value. We'll do whatever's in A2. Then comma, our table array, A4 through F8. And we'll do our row number of 8. We'll do false for an exact match. So that's saying look for whatever's in A2, which is 1003. Go across till you get to 1003. Then move down. Whoops, I entered 8 here. And to enter 2 as my row reference. So move over to 1003 until you find that, and then move to the second row, 1, 2. So this should return a value of engineering, which it does. Now, if I were to change what it referenced in cell A2 as my lookup value, I can actually change this to 1005, and you can see it automatically changes the result of my HLOOKUP. Because now this is 1005, so it's searching across to 1005, moving to the second column, and that is marketing. So you can actually update this, and it will update your result of your HLOOKUP. Now our next lookup function is our match function. And this function returns the numerical representation of a value's place within a single row or a single column range. And our syntax for this is equals match. And then we have our lookup value, our lookup array, so either the column or row that you're searching through, and then your match type, which you have an option of 1, 0, or -1 here. The value 1 tells the function to look for the largest value that is less than or equal to the lookup value. The value 0 tells the function to look only for an exact match of the lookup value. And then the value -1 tells the function to look for the smallest value that is greater than or equal to the lookup value. So, for example, we'll do equals match, and we'll do our lookup value of 1007. And you want to specify what you're looking through. Now for the match function, you can only have a single row or a single column of data that you're searching for. So for 1007, I'm searching for my employee IDs, so I could search through the range A7 through A17, which is a single column. And then your match type, again, -1 for the smallest value that is greater than or equal to your lookup value, 0, which is an exact match, or 1, which is the largest value that is less than or equal to your lookup. So we'll do 0 for an exact match here. So this says, look down your range A7 through A17 until you find your lookup value of 1007, which we have here. And the match function is going to return the cell position that this lookup value falls in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It is in the 8th position in this particular column. So this function is going to return the number 8. I'll do another one. Equals match. And we'll do a lookup value of information technology. Now, since it's text, it has to be in double quotation marks. Move to the second argument, and we'll look through the range A11 through E11. And we'll look through it for an exact match of this, so we'll input 0. Now this says, look through this particular row for your lookup value of information technology. When you hit it, what cell position is this in? This is in 1, 2, so it returns the value of 2. Let's do another one. Equals match. My lookup value, I'll do 75,000. My lookup array, I'm going to do E7 through E17. And for this one, I want to look for the smallest value that is greater than or equal to the lookup value. So I would want the value of -1 here. So this is the smallest value that is greater than or equal to the lookup value. So what it does is it looks down this column. It doesn't have an exact match of 75. That's what it will look for first. But since it doesn't have 75,000, it's going to look for the value that is greater than. Now we have two values that are greater than. So it's going to look for the smallest value that is greater than or equal to your lookup value. So this returns a value of not applicable. Let's see. Equals match 75,000, E7 through E17, -1, looks right. Let's try the less than. I don't know why that wouldn't come up. All right, anyway, the smallest value that is less than or equal to. So this tells us position number 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it gives us a result of 60,500. So that is the smallest value there. All right, next we have our index function. And the index function returns the value in a particular row or column of a given range of cells. The specified range of cells contains both multiple rows and columns. You must specify both a row and a column for the function to search. In these cases, the index function returns the value in the cell at the intersection of the specified row and column. If the specified range of cells represents a single row, you need only to specify a column reference. The opposite is true of a range that represents only a single column. So here we have the syntax of our index function, and it's equals index, then your array, what the data set you're searching through. This could be a single row, it could be a single column, it could be, a range going over multiple rows and columns. Then your row number, and then your column number. So for an example, equals index, and let's say I'm searching through the array or range A4 through E14. Move to the next argument, and I want to specify my row number, and I'll do row number 3 here. And then I want to specify my column number, which I'll enter as column number 4. Now what this is saying search through the search through the range A4 through E14. You're going to start at the top and you're going to go down to the third row, 1, 2, 3, and then my third argument there, I have column 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this function should return a result of red, Randall, which it does. Now another example. Let's say I'm only searching through the row 4. My range is A4 through E4. In that instance, I only have to specify what column number to return. So if I wanted to return column number 5, it's going to look across that row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In the 5th position is the text salary, and that's what it returns. Now, in opposition to that, if I have the index function and I'm searching only down one column, I only have to specify a row number. If I specify row number 5, you're going to start here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this function should return the result of employee 10004, which it does. And then lastly, we have our transpose function. And you use the transpose function to switch the orientation of a data set. When you use the transpose function to rearrange a data set, Excel creates the first column in the transposed data set out of the first row of the original data set, the second column out of the second row, and so forth until the entire data set is transposed. So if I have this data set, the syntax is just equals transpose and then whatever your original data set is. So here I have 4 columns and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows. So if I did the transpose function, now let me show you something important. If I did equals transpose, and I selected that data set of A1 through D6, and I pressed enter here, I'm going to get a value error. Now this is an array function, so I actually have to do Control, Shift, and enter. But another important thing is I actually have to specify how large that data set is going to be. So it's going to turn my column headers into my row headers. So I actually need 4 rows going down And I have 6 rows in my original data set, which means I need 6 columns going across because it's going to be flip-flopped. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then I can do equals transpose. I clicked out of it. Sorry about that. Let's try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Equals transpose. Select my data set. And for this particular function, you have to do Control, Shift, and Enter. And you can see my column headers became my row headers, and my rows became my columns. So it just flip-flopped the rows and the columns here. But you have to select the size that your data set is going to turn into, and you have to enter it with Control, Shift, and Enter since it is an array, which we don't get into quite yet. Just do Control, Shift, and Enter for that particular function. Your next video will be Activity 4.1 on page 78.